Welcome and thanks for joining us. My guest today is Nicholas Lilly, the Senior Director of Inova Blood Donor Services. Great to have you, Nicholas. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just start off by talking about Inova Blood Donor Services. Tell us about your organization. Who do you supply? What kind of impact do you have here in the local community?
Well, Inova Blood Donor Services has been around for 60 years and counting. We are the sole supplier of blood products to the Inova Health System, as well as over 20 EMS carriers within Maryland and Virginia, and about 20 hospitals within the Virginia, D.C., and Maryland area.
Wow. Okay. So you are the go-to place.
We are.
Okay. Obviously, the need for blood is constant. Why is that? Why is it important to have a stockpile of blood?
Blood products have a shelf life. For red blood cells, that's a 42-day shelf life. Platelets, another component of blood, has a 5-day shelf life. Platelets are very critical for our patient populations that are undergoing cancer treatments and other traumas. The same with red blood cells. And there really aren't enough blood donors out there.
And I guess this is especially important if there's, for example, a natural disaster or, we just had a nice snowstorm here. Do those kinds of things impact your need for blood donations?
Well, it impacts the need, and it also impacts the amount of people that actually come to donate. When you think about just day-to-day trauma or day-to-day surgeries, our Nova facilities, you see at our main hospital hundreds of surgeries a day. And so when you think about a snowstorm or any other sort of natural disasters where blood products cannot be collected as they would on a regular basis, having a little bit extra or really what you need on a daily basis can make the difference.
Okay, so what can folks do to ensure that there is a stable blood supply in our area?
So really, we want to get away from, the situations where we have a reactionary approach. If we hear about some tragedy or something, we want to take action. But it's really about every day. Any day, every day, if you have the time or if you can spread awareness about the need for blood, you should try to.
Okay, well, let's dig into that a little bit because I think folks don't know sometimes where to begin. They know they can go donate blood, but first of all, are there events that people can find out about where there's a big blood drive, that kind of thing, and how do they get access to that information?
So for us, if you go to our website, innovablood.org, and click on donate, you can see the list of our donor centers in the Northern Virginia area, as well as a list of all of the blood drives that we have 7 days a week across the DMV area, if you will.
Wow, okay. And if you'd like to, for example, coordinate a blood drive in your own community, is that a possibility? And if so, who can do that and where?
Well, really, anyone can do that. And if you are interested in coordinating a blood drive, again, if you go to our website, if you click on the area that says Get Involved, you can learn a little bit more about how the process works, and I'll take you through what that looks like very briefly.
Yeah.
The perfect blood drive gets set up and goes into fruition within 12 weeks. And so I know that may sound like a very long time. However, we need to do some advertising. We need to see the site, see if the space is viable, if it's inside or if it's on a blowmobile outside. We need to then also let the community know it's happening. We do rely on volunteer coordinators within the community to allow us the opportunity to come to their various places of work, their places of worship, their schools. And we also, again, have to give our potential donors the opportunity to make blood donation a priority within their regular schedule. Having several touch points within that 12-week time frame in order to engage is pretty key. And we have several different methods that we do that. We utilize email, text, phone calls, and even sign-up tables. If we were at a mall, for example, we might do a sign-up table there. If we're at your business in the foyer, if you will, we might do a sign-up table there. But we need time to be able to get all of those things in order before we, say, hey, time to collect.
So, what are the ways that folks can kind of get involved in being a blood donor advocate or a volunteer even? Is that something anybody can do?
Yes. A lot of people need volunteer hours. And so sometimes when you think about volunteering, you say, okay, well, hey, I can go to your blood drive. I can sit there and sign people up as they walk up. But really, if you need additional volunteer hours, and I'm thinking about, our high school students and, people that are, in college that need credits and that sort of thing, you can always be a blood drive volunteer coordinator. And as I just spoke about, there are many different things that you have to do in order to take a blood drive to success. We try and collect at least 30 donors per blood drive.
And you train these people so they know
Yes.
what to do once they get there?
Yes, so we have a recruitment team, and our recruitment team works on a daily basis with their blood drive coordinators and volunteers to ensure that they have the proper information to share with the general community. And we always want to champion those blood donor advocates that are out there within the community as well. And social media really has helped us do that a lot.
Okay. You mentioned, high school and college, excuse me, kids. Is it challenging to get teenagers involved in blood donation, particularly during the summer months when they're off doing other things?
So, that's actually something that we're trying to improve because over the last a little bit over 10 years, there's been a slight decline across the country in high school age blood donors and their involvement. Because just like anything else, we're trying to work our way into the priorities of, those individuals. So by engaging with the HOSA groups, the Key Club, groups like that, and trying to get them involved, not just during the school year, but outside the school year, that's certainly one way that we found, and really specifically in our fixed sites, and sometimes within their community as well. But that's one way that we found effective in getting them involved.
Yeah, because
it's a work in progress.
And it's a work in progress, but it's important, obviously, and also in terms of sort of grooming them to become adults who pay attention to this issue.
That's right.
Right. There are, I guess, some misconceptions about who can be a blood donor. Who can and who can't? Are there age limits? Can anybody do it? Does it depend on your health, medications? What are some of the particulars?
So, when we think about limits in blood donation, there's only one true limit. So at minimum, and this is specific to DC, Maryland, Virginia, you have to be 16 years of age with parental consent. Okay. There's no upper age limit. We've got some very distinguished donors out there, and they're very proud. And so, when we think about the things that can cause you not to be eligible from donating, there are very few. So there's something called the FDA required reading that every donor has to read prior to donation. And so, when you take a look at that, there are some specific conditions and medications that will restrict you from being able to donate. But, if you think about something common or more common like diabetes. So if you have diabetes and it's controlled, you can donate. If on the flip side, if you've had a history of blood cancer or bone cancer, something a little bit more rare and severe, while you're not able to donate, we do hope that those people are great advocates for us, and they many times are. If you think about asthma, if asthma is controlled, you can donate with that. If you've had a minor surgery, 3 months, you can donate. If you've had, blood transfusion, because many people do receive blood products, and if the underlying cause wasn't a reason, again, why they weren't unable to donate, those people are allowed to donate too within 3 months. That was actually a recent change that the FDA made. And then in terms of medications, there are some specific medications on the we'll call it the medication deferral list that do restrict donation, but for the most part, very few, like maybe one, isn't ever. When we think about blood thinners, blood thinners are, obviously they're something that people have to take given certain medical conditions and that sort of thing, sometimes forever, sometimes temporary. And so because sometimes temporarily people have to take those blood thinners, really those deferral time periods are only 2 days, 7 days. It's very brief. And so I just say, for anyone and the biggest misconception that I think exists is that people assume that someone else is going to do it. So I think that anyone who is interested should look into it. Give us a call, 1-866-256-6372, or go to our website. Check us out.
And what would you say to somebody who might be skittish about needles and donating blood? I think that, a lot of people have a little bit of a fear.
So when I started working for Blood Donor Services almost 16 years ago, I was a donor specialist. So that's one of the team members that, many donors will see, and it will be the only person that they ever see. That's the person that draws their blood, does their medical history review, and that sort of thing. And so, when I would draw donors, I would just say, hey, I know that you might be a little bit nervous, but this small prick is, nothing compared to what someone on the other end is going through that needs, your generous donation. While people might be skittish, just know that they're serving a greater good.
And I just wanted to ask you finally about having a diverse donor base, and for folks who, in all parts of our community who are considering donating. What would you say, is that important?
So it is. While type-specific blood, so A positive, B positive, et cetera, that's very important. One issue that does exist, there's only 12.2% of the population of blood donors that are within a minority group. And so, when we think about specialized medical conditions and reasons why blood products are needed for specific qualities within a person's body, products sometimes from people of like cultures are sometimes a little bit more effective. And so, you kind of just have to say to yourself, I'm going to be here to help the other person within my group. And so it's very important. We really want for our patient population and our donor population to match. Our patient population, specifically in this area, is very diverse. And likewise, our donor population should be as well.
Terrific. Anything you want to add that we might have missed?
I would just say it's very simple to donate blood. It really only takes 60 minutes of your time from the time you come in the door till the time you leave. Again, if you have any questions or any concerns about your eligibility, if you are a donor, reach out to us at our 1-866-256-6372 or go to our website. And we'd love to connect with you, and we are constantly looking for people within the community to take part.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We've been speaking with Nicholas Lilly, the Senior Director of Inova Blood Donor Services. I'm Deborah Feinstein, and for more information on this series, please go to WTOP.com and search Get on Top of Your Health. Thanks so much.